I'm Dudu. I have emphasized the importance of design system principles multiple times through my previous videos. And finally today, I am going to show you the specific methods of how to actually create those principles. Going beyond mere theory, I will now reveal the essential skills that you can apply directly to your practical fieldwork one by one. In this section, we are going to explore the 5 whys, which allows for vertical and in-depth exploration among user experience methodologies. Shall we take a look together at how to dig deep into the real causes hidden behind the surface of a phenomenon? First, let's briefly go over the concept of the 5 whys before we move forward. Shall we first understand the basic concept of how this technique can derive the root causes of a problem? First, let's imagine a specific scenario. Suppose you are in a situation where you need to design a particular user interface by utilizing a design system that has been shared within your team. So, as you can see, I have designed these 3 different user interfaces. At first glance, they might look similar, but if you look closely, you will notice that the designs, such as the button positions or information layouts, are slightly different from one another. What could be the reason why such different designs emerged from the exact same situation? Even though the same design system was clearly used, I think it would be good for us to think about the real underlying cause of why the final results are turning out so differently. Why are the results all so different from one another? The reason is simple. It is because they were created by looking only at the superficial guides visible on the surface. It is because there were no principles to hold the truly important center. Since the standards are not clear, every designer has no choice but to interpret them differently. Principles are the deep-rooted rules that support the design system to keep it from wavering. Only when these roots are firmly established can consistent designs be produced under any given situation. That is why we must properly understand what that root, the true essence, really is. Instead of just looking at the phenomena appearing on the surface, we need to go very deep into what lies below the surface. Only when we have this process of digging deep into the core can we create principles that are truly alive and meaningful. The 5 whys method we are going to learn is a methodology that digs very deep through a process of vertical exploration. It is not just about finishing with a single question, but a process of finding the true inner reason as questions follow one another in a chain. By continuously asking why and digging deeper like this, you will eventually encounter the essential principles we have been looking for. In the end, the process of the 5 whys looks like this. We take a problematic situation visible right in front of us as a starting point, and from there, we descend through 5 stages of deep dives. As you keep asking questions and digging deeper, you will eventually reach the core, and that is exactly when we derive the true principles that will hold the center of our product. Now, let's look at the advantages and disadvantages of the 5 whys. First, the advantage is that you can quickly extract core values with your team without any additional research costs. You can provide clear logical grounds when asked, why was this principle created? And it allows you to focus on gaps in the system rather than individual mistakes. On the other hand, there are disadvantages. The results can be distorted depending on the questioner's subjectivity, and you might miss the overall context because you are digging into only one phenomenon. Ultimately, you must be careful that depending on the analyst's skill level, you might end up finding excuses rather than the true essence. Since the 5 whys is a technique for digging deep into a single point, it might be slightly insufficient for looking at the entire context of a service. But please do not worry too much. I will be covering the user experience methodologies that encompass the entire service in detail later on. For now, I would like you to focus on this process of extracting the essence with great depth. Now that you have a good understanding of the concept, I will show you how to conduct the 5 whys through a detailed example. We are going to assume a situation commonly encountered in practice and dig all the way to the end by asking questions. Shall we go and see how this process unfolds together? Shall we imagine a realistic scenario involving a food delivery application? As shown on the slide, a user abandons the app mid-selection because the food options are too complex and overwhelming. You've picked a dish, but there are so many options that you eventually close the application without ordering. Let's try to extract the core keywords from this example. First, we have the food options, then the user's feeling of it being too complex, and finally, the action of abandons the app. These will be our key points to focus on. Using the keywords we just extracted, abandons the application, the food options, and too complex, let's create our first question. We ask, why do users abandon the application during option selection? The answer is, because they experience fatigue due to an overwhelming number of checkboxes to process. Now, shall we extract the keywords from this answer once again? This time, the core keywords will be overwhelming number and checkboxes. Now, shall we connect the keywords overwhelming number and checkboxes to create our next question? We ask, why have the choices become so excessive? In fact, a bit of a conflict was revealed during this process. From the perspective of the business owner or the business team, they strongly insisted on showing every single piece of information. Ultimately, the provider-centered mindset of wanting to ensure no information is missed for every option collided, resulting in the complex screen we see now. The core keywords we should focus on here are every option and ensure no information is missed. Now, let's ask our third question using the keywords every option and ensure no information is missed. We ask, why is showing all the information so stressful for the user? The answer is very clear. Because users do not want to study the information. They want to make a quick decision and get their food. Here, the user's true inner thoughts have finally emerged. However, the systemic problem we still need to solve is the existing inertia of trying to don't want to study for quick decision. You must take a close look at this gap. Let's ask our fourth question by connecting the keywords do not want to study and quick decision. We ask, why did we prioritize the owner's information delivery over the user's quick decision? The answer to this is because there was no defined priority on what our service should value more. It was because we lacked a clear set of priorities regarding what our service should value more highly. In the end, the core keywords we are facing here are priority and value. Now, based on the keywords priority and value we found earlier, let's summarize the insights that can clearly reduce the user's hesitation time. For the final fifth question, we ask, the core value discovered. The answer to this is, the essence of our service lies not in rich information, but in clear simplicity that minimizes user hesitation. And here, we have finally found our core keyword, clear simplicity. Let's summarize the process of how we uncovered our core keywords once again. In the first why, we identified the fatigue caused by excessive choices. In the second why, we realized the problem was one-sided provider-centric information exposure. Through the third why, we pointed out information overload hindering decision speed. With the fourth why, we discovered the fundamental issue, absence of priorities in service value judgment. Finally, in the fifth why, we reached the conclusion that accelerating decisions through clear simplicity is essential. In this way, we have successfully derived our core keyword, clear simplicity, which will serve as the root of our service. So far, we have uncovered a very valuable core keyword through the 5 whys. Now, we are going to look at the process of converting these discovered keywords into principles that exert powerful influence in practice. Beyond just staying as a single word, let's check out right now how we can formulate them into our team's unwavering principles. Now, we have finally derived our core keyword, right? However, simply having this keyword alone doesn't mean it can be applied to practice immediately. There is a necessary process of converting this keyword into an actionable principle that team members can look at and act upon right away. If our derived keyword represents the essential state that we should strive for, then the principle represents the specific, actionable guideline to achieve that state. It goes beyond simply defining our service should be like this and provides a practical guide that says, therefore, this is how we must move forward. Only when keywords are connected to actions does it truly gain power as a principle. Shall we look at an example to understand this better? Let's assume our service's keyword is freshness. If we simply say, we pursue freshness, each team member might have a different interpretation. But what if we convert this into the principle? Do not sell any fish unless it was caught today. It becomes much clearer, right? This means that a state, like a keyword, must lead to a specific action principle that anyone can follow. Only by finding the gaps in the system can we derive the right principles that everyone can agree on. Now, shall we convert the core keyword we derived earlier, clear simplicity, into an actual principle? To do that, we need to revisit the conflict we discovered during the 5 whys process. Do you remember the conflict from the second why stage, where the perspectives of the provider and the user clashed? The collision between the provider, who insisted on showing all information, and the user who felt stressed by it. Only by identifying this point of conflict accurately can we create a powerful actionable guideline. Ultimately, this conflict can be seen as a direct clash between the provider's desire to offer rich information and the user's need to make a quick decision. The owner wants to provide even one more piece of information, but users are actually struggling to decide because of that very information. Understanding this tight-knit structure of opposition is the starting point for creating a principle. Shall we take a closer look at this conflict? First, from the provider's perspective, they think giving more information is better, but we eventually reach the conclusion that more information leads to slower decision-making. On the other hand, from the user's perspective, the conclusion is that the user's decision speed holds higher priority and value. Ultimately, it becomes clear right here what we should value more highly. Now, we have to make a choice, and right here, we are going to establish a clear standard. We will set our top priority on the conclusion that the user's decision speed is more valuable than any amount of rich information. Here, we are finalizing our team's strong commitment to choosing user convenience over the provider's desire and decision efficiency over the volume of information. We have finally reached the final stage. Shall we convert our core keyword, clear simplicity, into a specific actionable guideline that team members can implement right away? The resulting principle is refine information exposure to be concise, ensuring it does not interfere with the user's moment of decision. This is much more specific than simply saying, let's make it simple, isn't it? Now, with this principle, it will serve as a very clear standard for judgment whenever you are struggling with which options to include or exclude. Now, you've seen the entire flow of the 5 whys through this practical example. However, when you actually try to do it yourself, you might find it's not as easy as it looks. So, I'm going to share a few pro tips for getting truly useful and high-quality results through this 5 whys process. Just by keeping these tips in mind, the quality of your principles will improve significantly, so please stay focused. Many people think that the 5 whys is simply repeating the question, why, 5 times. However, the most important thing here is that the questions should follow one after another, capturing the core of the previous answer and connecting it properly to the next question. Please remember that the key is not just asking mechanically, but the art of connection, logically following the previous context to dig deeper into the true essence. The first art of connection is asking the right question from the very beginning. Vague questions like, why isn't our service popular? Or, how can we make the design look more sophisticated? Are strictly off limits. Instead, start with specific pain points from data or actual user experiences, such as, why did the conversion rate from cart to checkout drop by 10%? Or, why are users bouncing after idling for more than 5 seconds on the menu selection screen? The more specific your starting point is, the faster you will reach the true essence. Now, for the second, art of connection. You must direct your questions toward the system, not the person. If you start blaming someone with questions like, did the designer miss it? Or, is it a mistake by the development team? It only leads to defensive attitudes. Instead, you must dig into what standards were missing in our process or system and why the structure inevitably led to such a result. Only when you find the gaps in the system can you establish the right principles that everyone can agree on. The third art of connection is constantly checking if the causality between each step is seamless. You must examine whether the previous answer serves as a solid ground for the next question and ensure the logic doesn't suddenly jump. Instead of making assumptions like, well, I guess it's probably because of this, the causality must be rock solid, stating, because of this, the following question arises. The stronger this chain of logic is, the more persuasive the final principle we obtain will be. Finally, here is the last art of connection. It's about the question, when should we stop? You should stop asking when the essential value that we should strive for finally emerges. You must not stop at a mere task level, such as, we should add this specific feature. Instead, dig persistently until you reach values that lie deeper than the tasks at hand. Values like the service's reason for existence or its ultimate direction. The moment that value becomes tangible is exactly when you should stop the questions and establish your principle. Now, is everything starting to come together? Ultimately, the 5 whys is the most agile and rapid technique for uncovering core keywords, reaching the essence instantly along the vertical line of logic. It is a powerful tool that allows us to strip away all the fluff and excavate core keywords with maximum agility and speed. If you make good use of these arts of connection we've discussed today, you will be able to clearly identify the true principles your service should follow, no matter how complex the situation may be. So far, we have taken a deep dive into the 5 whys technique together. How did you find it? You've seen how simply asking why can unravel the tangled threads of complex problems, allowing the true essence hidden at the bottom to emerge. Up until now, we have learned how to find the essence by digging deep vertically. In the next session, we're going to shift our perspective a bit. While finding the essence is crucial, it is also essential to lay out and organize the various phenomena before us in a broader way. Therefore, in our next session, I will introduce another user experience technique that helps you capture the overall context through horizontal structuring. Shall we take a short break and meet again with an even more interesting topic? I'm Dudu.